Hello again. It seems an electron decoupling bank exploded somewhere in the internet pipeline, so there were some recording hiccups. I've got the computer working hard to recreate this podcast from scratch. In the meantime, we apologize. Message ends. Welcome to Epilogue Podcast, the show where we discuss some stuff that happened on a different show ages ago which nobody really cares about anymore.
Hello, I'm Portponky.
And I'm LeBloc.
Today we are discussing Deep Space Nine, Season 2, Episode 20, the Maquis. Maquis. The Maquis Part 1. After a Cardassian freighter is destroyed in a terrorist attack at Deep Space Nine, Cisco and Gul Dukat are drawn into an ongoing terrorist conflict in the demilitarized zone on the Federation Cardassian border.
Lots of talking in this one.
Yeah, it was a politics-heavy episode, which was good, I guess. I like that sort of stuff. It felt kind of out of the blue, a lot of it.
Why do you say that?
Well, Admiral Hudson turns up and says, "Wow, you won't believe the state of the demilitarized zone. It's a joke." Okay, I probably would believe that because I've never heard of it before. I wasn't aware there was one. I mean, it sort of adds a bunch of stuff in about the Federation Cardassian border, which has been hinted at before, vaguely. I think in Next Gen a little bit. But it didn't have much emotional weight. That being said, what they did with it in this episode I felt was good. They fleshed it out pretty quick and put a lot of stuff in there that felt decent, interesting.
Yeah, and because this is a two-parter, the conversations were allowed to breathe, and there was a lot of tense revelations.
Yeah, they can kill off some people and not resolve things quite yet. It's always exciting to have a little plot and then find out next week what happens.
This sort of threat of war plotline feels like a season finale, so it's weird that it's not, because it is a heightened sort of deal.
Yeah, I think it doesn't feel very genuine. When you know the episode numbers and stuff, you kind of think, well, the Maquis will be sorted out fairly reasonably in the next episode. I don't think they're going to descend into an all-out shooting war in the next episode. I can't remember. I think I would remember if they did.
Yeah, probably. And knowing the episode number kind of already tells you it won't, because they can't end, or they can't continue the season if it just devolves into all-out chaos.
Well, if there was a big war, they would put it near the start of the season so they could do a lot of stuff with it. It'd be a really weird twist to put in 5 episodes from the end. Well, maybe, who knows, maybe they'll surprise us. I mean, they might surprise me for a bit until I remember what the surprise is. Well, that happens. It's hard to remember everything that happens.
Are you ever surprised by what you don't remember?
Oh, totally, yeah. Some episodes I've watched and thought, oh, this episode's pretty good, but I have absolutely no memory of it.
That's a treat.
Or ones that I dread, I think, oh god, not this one. And then when you watch it, you think, oh, I'm being overly critical. Like, I distinctly remembered the previous episode with the Klingons. That was very memorable. I didn't really remember this episode, but I remember the Maquis. So, you know, the details are what gets lost. And this episode had a lot of details and not much in the way of massive big space battles. Although it did have that little one, the one that they looked at on the view screen, the little diagram.
Yeah, that's not as exciting.
It's actually pretty exciting.
I like that they weren't answering the hails.
Yeah, I think they get better. Okay, so if you measure it as excitement per dollar spent, the big space battles, obviously very exciting, but very expensive. Looking at it on a little view screen, that's reasonably exciting, but it must just cost like $10 or something. Just get some little graphics, have the actors go, oh no, look, that ship is shooting the other ship.
It avoids bloated costs, and it's actually effective, so it works.
Maybe it's just that I have a hunger for space battles, and if it was like this all the time, then I maybe would get really tired of it.
It's not a well they return to all too often. I think they're hitting the ratio just right so far.
Yeah, I think so. There was a lot of Cisco and Ducat time in this episode. They really grew their blossoming friendship. Dare I say romance?
Sure, why not?
Okay. Well, we'll have to see. What do you think?
It was weird to me how guarded Cisco was with technology. Just because we live in the age where the internet is ubiquitous and we have the outstanding success of things like Wikipedia and Tesla Motors releasing its patents, things like that, where a rising tide lifts all boats. I guess that idiom didn't survive.
Yeah, I don't know how he could credibly have hoped that Federation technology would be really secret to the Cardassians, especially since he's in the middle of the ship looking at everything.
And it's not even weaponry.
Yeah, I mean, they know a lot about Cardassian ships. They know what kind of materials they're constructed out of at a basic level. O'Brien was scanning the debris at the start. So, yeah, Cisco was being weird with Ducat. I don't think he likes him very much.
What tipped you off that he doesn't?
The fact that he was a dick to him the whole time, and Ducat was being so nice. Reminiscing about the good old days, talking about his 7 kids.
But when Ducat's involved, you know something nefarious is afoot.
Oh, come on, he didn't even kidnap Jake.
He made Cisco worry that he did.
I laughed quite a lot at that scene. I don't know if it was supposed to be as funny as that, but it did seem like Ducat kind of didn't intend to give that message. And then Cisco starts acting.
Happened.
Yeah, Cisco starts freaking out, and he's like, "Oh, whoa, no, it's not that. I'm just here to say hi."
His reputation precedes him.
Yeah, he is the child catcher.
I didn't laugh during that scene, but now that you point that out, it is pretty funny in retrospect.
Well, yeah, I think it was supposed to be deliberately played out like that by Ducat, but in my mind, I just assumed he hadn't considered that Cisco would react that way and backpedals.
No, this is how we greet each other. We just show up in each other's rooms. Cardassian tradition.
So I have a few criticisms I'd like to make.
Go for it.
It was ridiculous that they had Samuel's dead body on, like, in the back, ready to bring out as a prop.
Yeah.
At what point, presumably he was on Cardassia or on one of the ships, he committed suicide, let's say he really did, and they thought, oh my goodness, we need to bring him to where Ducat is going to be, although we don't know where that he's turning up, so we can surprise bring him out. It really upset everyone.
It's a Cardassian tradition to cart around dead bodies.
Must
of
be.
your enemies.
I thought the timing and everything on that was really silly. As soon as he starts saying it, these two guys run in and lift the cloth off the body.
It was convenient.
I thought it needlessly went for the shock factor, except it wasn't really shocking. It was just pantomime. He could just have said that the guy was dead. That might have even been more suspicious, because then you don't even know.
Revealing the dead body didn't add anything to it.
Yeah, and the synchronicity of it happening was just ridiculous. Imagine being those guys out in the corridor with a stretcher with a dead guy.
I really hope someone brings up that guy so we can bring this guy in.
He's really heavy. My arm's really staying. Imagine they didn't mention him and then they left. Just saw two guys holding a corpse in the corridor. Okay. There were some serious costume errors in this episode.
Yeah.
Did you notice the incredibly obvious one?
Is it when Ducat's armor is flopping around everywhere?
Yes. That wasn't actually the only costume mistake, but that was the very, very obvious one.
That one was egregious. I mean, he's walking right at the camera. The camera holds for a long time.
I guess just no one noticed at the time and they can't go back, so they just went with it.
It looks so bad. And I think he's trying to walk in a way to fix it, but it didn't work.
It also shows that the armor is obviously some sort of flimsy plastic rubber thing.
Yeah.
Which is a shame, because it looks really good.
It looks really good until it starts flopping around everywhere.
That's what she said. It was that a little bit lowbrow.
Just a tad.
Oh well. There was another costume mistake, and you probably missed this one because I don't know, maybe you did.
You have no faith in me.
When Kira and O'Brien are scanning the Boknor debris, Kira is not wearing her Bajoran ear dangle.
Oh, I didn't notice that. That's a big deal, it would seem.
I guess she always has it on, so I don't know. Maybe she was getting it cleaned or something. I didn't notice that. I read it off the wiki.
Oh, you cheater.
Well, the cheating is going to continue, because I read this one off the wiki too. Cisco says the Cardassians were shipping weapons through a third party, the Euridians. But in the episode called The Circle, it was the Crisari, not the Euridians.
He could have forgotten.
Yes, he could have. Or they could have been up to it in a different unseen incident.
He was so clouded with rage he couldn't think straight.
He was fuming mad. Almost everyone was telling him that the Cardassians aren't going to honor the treaty. Admiral Hudson, although he's a secret baddie / ambiguously bad baddie, and Kira as well, were she was kind of encouraging him to think more openly about the situation.
That's not Cisco style.
How do you think he will solve the problems in the demilitarized zone?
With lots of yelling. Possibly punches to the face.
Yeah, it actually seems like a lot of this should not be Cisco's responsibility.
Yeah, this is above his pay grade.
He solved the problem at Deep Space Nine. The guy got caught by the Cardassians. They're happy. He should probably just stay on the station now and do his job. I don't know why he is being ripped halfway across the quadrant to solve some other dude's problems. But I'm sure he will, because he is superb.
That was a huge power move when Cisco opened the door to signal the end of the conversation with Kira.
Yeah, that was harsh.
He can't even say we're done here. Just opens the door, turns around.
Yeah, I'm not saying it wasn't necessarily deserved. It was kind of a heated discussion, and then he just comes in with this massively passive-aggressive action. Did you spot a special thing from a previous episode?
I did not.
Cisco's clock that he built when he got possessed by a clock-making clockman. Season 1. Yeah, it was behind Admiral Hudson when he first arrives, and they're chatting in Cisco's office.
I missed it.
Yeah, a little throwback.
To an episode that doesn't deserve to be thrown back to.
No, not really.
Odo leaves nothing to the imagination about his desire for totalitarianism.
Yeah, that seemed a little bit out of the blue as well. He's grumbled about it a little bit before, but suddenly he's just wanting to go the whole hog on controlling everything that goes on.
I'm surprised he didn't bring up forced labor or identifying armbands.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that's a departure from his established character, because he's always been kind of strict. But it did seem a bit kind of full on. Maybe he was just a little bit tense on account of 73 or 78 people dying horribly in a massive explosion on his watch.
Yeah, and he sees it as something that could have been preventable if people would just listen to him.
Yeah, if people would just stop planting bombs on things, like he says, and everyone was checked for bombs all the time. I felt that his ranting there was kind of weak exposition, in a sense.
It doesn't really follow what we've seen of Odo. It's a more extreme version of him.
Indeed. We had a rule of acquisition, and that is number 214, never begin a business negotiation on an empty stomach.
Pretty good advice.
Yep, Quark doesn't even follow it because he takes one sip of wine and then starts trying to deal with the Vulcan after being just cringeworthy to her. I don't know why she didn't know he was kind of trying to date her or something. I don't know what he was trying.
I took it as she recognized his advances, but she wanted to take advantage of him and get the arms anyway.
Well, but
are Vulcans allowed to scheme?
Well, they're kind of peaceful, sort of pacifist dudes, so obviously she's not a standard Vulcan. But if she thought she could take advantage of him by leading him on, she did a terrible job of that.
He was chasing her.
Yeah, but she was just kind of making it really awkward to watch. Well, they both were. I don't know. I mean, it is established that Quark is a sexist kind of guy. Or his whole race is very sexist, so whenever he's interacting with women, especially in a romantic fashion, albeit it was very one-sided, it just comes off weird.
It does, and it's gross.
Yeah, and it happens so often.
I don't think they can overcome that, given what we know about Ferengi and specifically Quark.
Probably not. They could cut it out, though.
Yeah, just drop it. Like they did with Bashir.
Well, Bashir was weird, lecherous. Quark is like this for an established reason that fits. I just don't think it helps for him to get weird around every woman that turns up.
Every single one.
Especially considering his contemptible attitude to women in general. It doesn't gel. The whole idea is not formed correctly. Which is a shame, because Quark is probably the most fun character on the show. He's always got something up his sleeve. He's the grey area of character morality.
I just wish that gray weren't tainted with blotches of lechery.
Don't we all? Anyway, they're probably not going to fix it now. Do you have words of quoting from the show?
Education is power, joy is vulnerability.
Ah, yes, the Cardassians, they love to be miserable.
Yeah.
I mean, Ducat pretty much could have just said, I don't like fun.
Fun gets in the way of non-fun.
Well, or rather, for Cardassians, fun is dominating other creatures.
Yeah, they redefined fun.
So, well, it doesn't make a lot of sense. If they like power so much, that surely is what they derive joy from.
Joy as understood by people who are not Cardassians.
But it was a Cardassian saying. How would it have reflected? There's no Earth sayings that reflect on cats. It is a Cardassian saying, and it doesn't make sense in the way it's stated. Although it is a good quote. I like the choice that you've made. I think I mostly like the way Ducat says it.
Why?
He's got a cool voice.
Yeah, he does. I'm still trying to figure out how to make it make sense.
Yeah, me too. They want power, that's what they like, so that's joy. So power is weakness. But that's contradictory, so the statement does not make sense. Unless the only thing you can derive from it is that the Cardassians are all absolutely miserable conquering everyone, yet they just do it habitually.
They do it out of tradition. They all hate it. I wish we didn't have to kill all of these people.
God, we've got to go and conquer Bajor again? Oh, not again. It's such a hassle.
This is the worst.
Yeah, but it's power, man.
We gotta have power.
Can't we just have fun? No. Okay, I guess we have to go onwards to part 2 and see what the Maquis do next time. Will it be all out war, or will it be all completely resolved in the next episode? Or somewhere in the middle? What do you think?
All in semi-war.
What? You can't have half a war.
That's what's gonna happen, half a war.
I can't wait to see what that actually means.
Well, you will in the next episode.
Okay.